Hello, everyone. Are you ready for the month of May? Well, everyone's been ready for the next month to come because so far, every month has been disappointing for us ever since, I would say, what we called October, right? And we called it Upvember and all that stuff. And then it just seems like every month, LTCN and bchg disappoints us. But today I'm actually going to talk about the potential for LTCN and bchg. I'm going to go over this topic again just to make sure anyone that is new is watching that you can be up to date with the ratio and to understand what the heck is NAV price, what the heck is premium, who dictates premium, because some of you have a tendency to think that the owners of Grayscale is dictating the premium, but that's not how it works. And I'm going to go into a little bit of a deep dive on premiums and NAV prices. But before I start, I just want to say that this is not financial advice, and this is just certain facts that I found on the Grayscale website. So, as of March 31st, 2025, if you look at the Grayscale website, all you have to do is just look up the product, which is LTCN and bchg, and look at the facts sheet. And after you click on the facts sheet, you should be able to see the ratio on the second page. I remember a few months ago, the ratio was actually 0.084. So it was slightly higher. And for bchg, it was actually I'm going to change it right here real quick. It's actually 0.0084. And now if you notice, it changed to 0.00837671. So this is where I'm not sure how they calculate this ratio, but I think it's related to share versus current price or the market cap price. And so let's get into LTC. For example, if LTC is at $100, okay, 100, then the LTCN NAV should be $8.37, and 6714. And if you're going to round it off, then we're just going to say that LTCN NAV should be at $8.38. And how did I get this math? Because you get that math by multiplying the $100 times by the ratio that you see up here. And as I put in that ratio, I'm just going to round it off and use it as like 0.08. Okay, let me write this down. So 0.08377, right? I'm rounding that off. So instead of 0.0376, I just put it as 0.0377. The price will actually turn out to be $8 and let's just say 38 cents. If I was to round it off, right? The previous numbers. So that's how you calculate the NAV price of LTCN in relation to LTC. And let's look at bchg. So if bchg is at $10, $100, then you would multiply it by the NAV. I'm gonna once again round it off and put it as 0.08383, let's say 77 again, right? Then your number should be roughly about 83 cents, or let's say if you're going to round it up, then let's say 83.77 cents, right? So almost 84 cents, but not quite. So that's going to be the NAV of BCH. I put BCHG right here. It sounds confusing, but what I meant is if BCH, not BCHG. So if BCH is 100, you multiply that by the ratio, 0.008377, then you should get about 84 cents. Once again, you can find these ratios, as I told you up here, on the Grayscale website. And you click on the product, which is bchg or ltcn, and then you clicked on the fact sheet of it. So let's go to the potential of LTCN first, and then we'll work on bchg. So if LTC, right, let's say if it gets up to $1,000, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 1,000 times by the ratio of 0.383767114, right? So if it gets up to 1,000, then I'll just move it over 3 decimals. Or, sorry, I'm going to move it up to, 3 decimals, which would turn out to be $83.76, right? Rounded off would be $83.77. And that would be the NAV of LTCN if LTC reaches $1,000. But let's say if it only reaches to the previous high, which is $500, then now you have the LTCN NAV at $41.88, rounded it off. And let's just say if LTC can only get to $250, then the NAV of LTCN would be $20.94. So if there's a 2x premium, then you would just multiply it by 2. So let's say if LTC does end at 250 and it has a times 2 premium, then the price of LTCN should be around $41.88. So let's go on to BCH now. If BCH is at 500, right, and that's pretty low, then the NAV for BCHG should be about $4 and let's say 19 cents. And if BCH gets to $1,000, then BCHG at NAV, because I'm rounding this off, it should be $8.38 per share. And if the premium is 2, when BCH, not BCHG, when BCH is at $1,000, then the price of BCHG, right, would be $16.76 if the premium was double. So let's talk about premium. What the heck is premium? I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before in my previous videos, but just in case if you were too lazy to watch my previous video, or if I have deleted it, because I tend to delete my videos after a while. So it's not Grayscale that controls and decides, okay, we're going to have 5 premium today. We're going to have times 10 premium today. No. It's basically on the investors and the interest that they have in these shares of BCG or LTCN. So, and I would say it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be 2x or 3x or whatever. It could be 2.7x. It could be 4.4x. It could be 1.7x. It could be 1.6342x. It just depends on if investors are going to start buying in. And I just use whole numbers for you to understand and to make it easy to understand. So the question is, when are investors going to buy in? Investors are going to buy in when they feel like shorters are no longer in control, because what shorters can do now is they just borrow borrow shares, or they can use the shares that they bought at a lower price and try and suppress the price. And like I said in my video, that maybe they're trying to suppress the price so they can, they can do more manipulation and not allow the private placement investors to buy in at a cheaper price. That's why they keep it at NAV price. and they're waiting. They're waiting for alt season, or they're waiting for BTC to get past that $109,000, because they need a signal. They need a signal before they buy in. They need good news before they continue to buy in, because they know that nothing is certain. just because the previous cycles they had all-time highs in multiplying like however many times higher than the low, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen in this cycle. But once something pushes it like really high, like let's just say BTC goes up 10,000 points in a day, that may signal them to say, okay, they're probably not going to short the stock anymore, but they're going to let the stock run just to see how high it can run before people start trimming profits. And once people start trimming profit, then they know that they can short the stock at that price. But let's say if it goes up to 10,000 and it keeps on going up for the next couple days, so now they're like, okay, here is our chance. Here is our chance to pump up bchg, LTCN, or even just LTC and BCH, and then LTCN and BCHG goes up along with it because it's at NAV price, right? So they're basically trying to wait for that green light. And if that green light doesn't come, then they're just going to keep it at NAV price so it can't hurt them, especially with LTCN. Because if it turns into an ETF, then everything stays at NAV price, and when they sell out, they at the very least they could still break even, or even make a little bit of profit, right? Because people are going to start buying it into LTC, and then they'll just sell whatever profit that they can make. So that's why they're holding on, and no one can truly predict exactly what's going on. That's why I'm just giving you, my thoughts and my reasons of the potentiality of these stocks. But in reality, these stocks can also be zero if no one has interest in it. So that's why we need a green signal, especially with BTC, to kind of set things off, and then next thing you know, everything's going to run after it. And that's when we can sell out. But at the price of where each of us wants to sell out, no one knows. It's like playing chess with one another. So I hope that we all have our own personal strategies, and we can make a certain amount of profit from these grayscale funds. But let the lesson be learned that every time we invest, nothing is a sure thing. But we should invest in what we're willing to lose. So don't invest because you see the potential gains, but invest because you know that you can afford to lose a certain amount and still be okay with it. That's the lesson for the day. And I look forward to making other videos upon requests on those who watch my videos. So yeah, submit your requests to comments, and if you like, you can like my channel, but if not, it's okay as well too. So I just want everyone to be aware of the situation that we're in, but I also want you to acknowledge the potential gains that you can have as well too. So these are just all rough estimates, and we don't know exactly how much premium we are going to have in these funds, because it's determined by the investors and how confident they feel like they can pump into these funds to cause FOMO. All right, so that's it for the day, and thank you very much.